Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Oakland Junior ROTC, for that presentation. They've been coming to this event for years, so it's great to see you. And thank you, Josh Smith. That was a wonderful national anthem. Now I'd like to call Jason Powers, the pastor of Raysville Community Church, to come up for the invocation.
Let us pray. Our gracious and loving Father, it is with hearts of thanksgiving and voices of praise that we come to you today, asking you to humbly bless this event. Please bless its purpose as we review the work this organization has accomplished and highlight the accomplishments of our revered Heroes honoree. Inspire each guest to do more. Lord, bless its people. May each sponsor, staff member, board member, volunteer, and speaker know and feel the appreciation they deserve from this community. They are your instruments for good when times are bad. Lord, bless its passion. We ask that you would sustain and encourage this organization full of heroes who make it their mission to run toward circumstances and events that most would rather run from. Lord, we ask that you bless this food, the fellowship, friendships, both old and new, here today. In your mighty name we ask these things. Amen.
Once again, my name is John Mitchell. I'm the Executive Director for the Heart of Tennessee American Red Cross here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Now I would like to introduce Chandra Vassar from Nissan. She is Vice President and Chief Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer. Chandra.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the Heroes Luncheon today. It's a lot of rain. The weather is crazy. It went from absolutely beautiful yesterday to this, but Everyone being here shows that you truly value and understand the importance of this event. So my name is Chandra Vassar, and as he mentioned, I am the Vice President and Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for Nissan Americas, as well as President of the Nissan Foundation. I am so grateful to be here with each of you today to celebrate our local heroes and the essential work of the Red Cross in Middle Tennessee. As a longtime supporter and partner of the American Red Cross, Nissan is honored to be a part of today's event. The Red Cross is a vital resource. We are truly grateful for their everyday efforts to keep our communities safe and prepared for how they step up when we need them the most. So no matter who you are, what neighborhood you live in, or where you work, the Red Cross is there and provides for our community in a deeply personal way. In the truest sense of the word, they are heroes. And that's why Nissan is a huge supporter. Nissan comes to the call of the Red Cross throughout the year. We host blood drives, we assist with disaster relief efforts, we check and install fire alarms, we share disaster preparedness tips, and more. We are steadfastly dedicated to supporting their critically important work. So on behalf of everyone at Nissan, I just want to again say thank you. Thank you to all of the other sponsors for their support. And please, you can check out those triangular table centerpieces. That provides the list of supporters, and I think they're also displayed on the screen. I also want to again thank you for attending today and for believing in and for being a champion of the mission of the Red Cross. And finally, thank you to the employees and volunteers of the Red Cross. You all represent the heart of Tennessee. Now I will turn the program over to the Heart of Tennessee Red Cross Board Chair, LaShawn Dixon.
Alone, we can do so little, but together, we can do so much. Good afternoon. I am LaShawn Dixon, Director of the Office of Faith-Based and Community Engagement in the Division of Health Disparities Elimination with the Tennessee Department of Health. But most importantly, I am honored to serve as this year's board chair alongside several amazing individuals. Board, will you please stand up and be recognized at this time? Board members, don't be shy. Thank you for your commitment and service to the Heart of Tennessee chapter of the American Red Cross. Today, I stand before you all to give you all the year in review for the Heart of Tennessee. In 2023, the Heart of Tennessee American Red Cross chapter assisted 178 families following disasters with 214 volunteers working 22,226 hours. We assisted with 525 individuals following home fires and installed over 541 fire alarms. We've taught more than 5,268 people life-saving skills through community education courses, provided 1,188 services to military members, veterans, and their families. Additionally, we have hosted 643 blood drives and collected 14,636 units of blood. Let's give a round of applause. As I stated, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And thank you to the commitment of individuals such as yourself. So now I would like to invite others to share a few personal stories highlighting the impact that each of our 5 Red Cross programs provide, both locally and internationally. Starting off with our board vice chair and incoming chair, Ms. Jenny Williams.
Well, hello, my name is Jenny Williams, and my big thing is blood. I really like blood. Just to tell you a little bit, blood donation is a vital part of the American Red Cross, but as you can see from the video and what was shared with us, there's, the American Red Cross is so much more. In 1996, my husband, David, was diagnosed with chronic myelogenous leukemia, and that's a blood cancer. And so you can imagine, we were surprised, and they told him he only had 3 to 5 years to live. Now, this is 1996. He's still alive. But in the beginning, he received so many units of red blood cells and platelets to, sustain him, because it is a blood cancer. And until a miracle drug came along, and we went to MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, so that's where that came from. But I told him, I said, one of us needs to give back. You've gotten so much blood, and I haven't given platelets yet, but I do like to donate blood. And I like to host blood drives. I asked my sister, and I said, hey, Candy, why don't you come to the blood drive and donate blood? And she really shocked me because she said yes. And so she came and donated blood. And she's 68 years old. It's her first time to donate blood. And so, that just shows you it's never too late. So she said, I was standing there watching her, and I was, you okay? And she did great. She said, that was a piece of cake. I'm going to do that again. So she has done that again. There are many blood drives that are hosted by many organizations. And if you or your organization would like to host a blood drive, you can do that. You can speak to me or John Mitchell or any of our board members, and they can tell you what you need to do to sponsor one. And I wanted to ask y'all to consider donating blood at the Heart of Tennessee American Red Cross Board Drive. It's going to be held on Friday, March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at New Vision Baptist Church on Thompson Lane here in Murfreesboro. And we do have flyers in the back table there if you need more information. And also, we have a blood donation center at our office located at 501 Memorial Boulevard, and they collect blood and platelet donations. And they're open on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And you can go to www.redcrossblood.org and sign up for any location. It's real easy to sign up. The biggest blood drive, though, I want to share with you, is the Middle Tennessee State University versus Western Kentucky University. That's a huge blood drive that's held on this campus. And it's a 3-day blood drive, and they compete with each other. And so last year, 451 units were collected. And the event this year will be September 9th through 11th. And the game between the two universities or two teams will be on September 14th. So I hope you consider, donating blood, especially if you're an alumni of MTSU. So right now, it's my pleasure to introduce this Ray Wiley, and Ray is the one that organizes that blood drive, and he does such a great job because there's a lot of students that participate. And he's going to tell you about the Red Cross training services, and he has an incredible story to tell you. Ray Wiley.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jenny. I think we have a video that I'd like to have run at this time. So turn your attention to the screens, please.
I'm greeting all these folks that saved my life. And the doctors say that this could have happened any place, anytime, had nothing to do with racquetball, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
78-year-old Richard Detman is a retired MTSU science professor. And his racquetball partner tells me Richard prioritizes his health by playing racquetball.
We play twice a week for last 18 years.
So the last thing Richard expected was to go into cardiac arrest mid-game.
We were at a glass door, so you could see. I just screamed at the other person saying that, call somebody.
So I guess instincts kind of kicked in. I immediately called, obviously, for 2424 and for more people to assist me because I was the first person in there.
4 MTSU students working with the campus Rex facility staff rushed in. 1 student performed CPR, another called 911, and 2 brought the AED and applied the pads.
We realized this is it. So we cut his shirt open. Julia was the one that applied the AED and immediately advised a shock.
Now fully recovered after days spent unconscious in the hospital, Richard is crediting his life to the 4 students who jumped into action.
I was very thankful.
On the screen now is our cardiac chain of survival. I feel doubly blessed this morning because I get to work at Middle Tennessee State University, a university that cares about others and does their best to plan ahead. But also, as a board member and a longtime volunteer of the Red Cross, these two blend together so well because we share that same passion. I have some really great news to share with you this morning. With us today are Richard Detmer and his lovely wife, Carol. So if you would, Richard and your wife, please stand. Also with us are 3 of the 4 students that assisted. And this has not been that many weeks ago. This was actually the end of January on a Friday afternoon, on the 26th. So it just tells you the incredible story of what happens when people are trained and when people are willing to step up and respond and they have the necessary equipment that they need to sustain a life. So I want to recognize Gatlin Murr, Julia Rutledge, and Andrew Scrugman. These are MTSU's finest student facility staff. John Mitchell is actually presenting them with a special award today, acknowledging them stepping up. Additionally, we have a couple of our law enforcement, MTSU's best law enforcement officials with us as well. Lieutenant Walter Spain, if you would, stand up, please. Filling in today for Officer Angela Todd is Sergeant Blake Durham. So Blake, please stand up and be recognized. Thank you. Blake's actually a trainer, so he trains these officers to respond, but they use Red Cross training. This is the thing that I want to share with you, how important it is to have an organization that actually provides training so that people know how to respond and how important it is. If you look on the screen, well, it's off now, but anyway, I just want to explain to you the cardiac chain of survival very quickly. There's 6 links, and you know a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Well, we didn't have any weakest links, and there they are on the screen now. Our staff performed those first 3. Those first few minutes are critical when someone is suffering from cardiac arrest. In the United States, annually, over 270,000 people suffer from cardiac arrest. The typical survival rate out of hospital without an AED on the scene is 7% in Rutherford County. Let that sink in for just a minute. So, because of the efforts that our student staff made by quickly recognizing that there was an emergency and making the call, on our campus, on a landline, it's 2424. Everyone else typically calls 911. The next link is early CPR, good quality CPR, followed by the use of an AED. And fortunately, we have 4 at our rec center, thanks to the leadership of our director, Charlie Gregory. We were able to supply 4 of those, and we're looking at providing a couple of more in different places in our building because we know that AEDs save lives. But I also want to leave you with this. Please, if you're given the opportunity to become trained in CPR and AED. Please take advantage of that because you never know whose life you might save. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now it's my privilege to pass on to you Dr. Amy Atchison, and she's going to be sharing information about service to the armed forces and international services. So, Amy.
Hi, my name is Amy Atchison. I'm a professor in the political science department here at MTSU. And I have brought a program to MTSU called the Youth Action Campaign. Now, the public often thinks about Red Cross as blood donation, smoke detectors, and disaster response. But because the International Committee of the Red Cross and Red Crescent is the global guardian of international humanitarian law, the rules of war, every Red Cross and Red Crescent society in the world has a mandate to educate its public on international humanitarian law. So in the American Red Cross, IHL education is supported by international service and service to the armed forces. And here in the heart of Tennessee, we are implementing the mandate by doing the Youth Action Campaign. It is a peer-to-peer education campaign. The students develop a full line of programming to educate their peers about the rules of war. Now, this year the theme is nuclear weapons, so hopefully we'll have another good theme next year. But as all good Red Crossers know, if there are no metrics, it didn't happen. So let me give you our metrics. The YAC goal for the entire Tennessee region was 300 contacts. The MTSU team, 14 members strong, interacted with more than 550 people and logged nearly 500 youth volunteer hours between September and early December. So they blew the state goal out of the water. I'm really proud of them. But they could not have done it without the fantastic support of the Tennessee Region Service to the Armed Forces team and the Heart of Tennessee chapter, which just awarded our students the chapter's Next Generation Award for their hard work on the campaign. So hopefully we can have a round of applause for the students who are on spring break today. And with that, I will turn it over to Jonathan Taylor in Disaster Services.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jonathan Taylor. I'm the Disaster Program Manager here for the Heart of Tennessee chapter, and it's really been mine and John Mitchell's great honor and privilege to be working with so many great volunteers here. A lot of them are in the room with us today. Others are out still serving us. Sandy Hughes is actually down in Texas right now with the wildfires, so this is a never-ending process for us. Go from one disaster to another. And if we can pull the graphic up, if it's still there. We've been responding to disasters really more frequently over the past decade or so, and it just keeps coming faster and faster. We're averaging about disaster response every 8 days. There used to be a cycle to it, which is why we're disaster cycle services. Well, the cycle is literally 8 days, so not much of a cycle, right? I went from Hawaii, came back November 27th, and then, of course, December 9th, we had the tornadoes here in Tennessee. Got done with that disaster, wrapped it up, and then we had the ice storm. So it's been a very busy year, and our volunteers have always stepped up. John and I are very privileged. Really, it's just from a staff standpoint, there's 3 of us here for the Heart of Tennessee chapter. So with Disaster Cycle Services, it's me and all of our volunteers. So I really appreciate all the hard work and dedication they have. We respond to everything from tornadoes to floods to home fires. So if we could just give all of our volunteers a good round of applause. Not only do we respond to disasters, but we also try to educate. I know we've talked about smoke alarms and installations. We're actually doing one March 15th and 16th up in Laverne, and the Nissan plant is going to be helping us out on Friday the 15th. So I really thank you, Nissan, for all the support you guys do provide us, not only financially, but also hard work and dedication. We're going to be out there for most of the day, so thank you so much for that. But we also do have stuff for our businesses as well. So small, large businesses, we do have a program called Ready Rating. This is something that we are proud to partner with the Canadian Red Cross and come and bring to your businesses, your places of worship, really anybody that has people congregating. This is a program, this is a free program. Everybody loves that word, right? So this is one of those free programs. It's a completely online. Ready Rating, it's a great program for anybody that's interested. Please contact myself, John Mitchell, if you are interested in this particular service. But on top of all that, again, volunteers are just so important to us. And really the best part of my job is when I get to recognize one of those volunteers. And for this year, we want to spotlight Mary Nichols. Mary Nichols has been with the Red Cross since 2018. She's moved to Murfreesboro in '91, and she was a professor here in the radio, TV, film here at the department at MTSU. She worked here until her retirement in 2014. For many of those years, she also worked on video documentary projects with Dr. Robert Ballard and was able to travel all over the world for various national scientific projects. Also in her role as video engineer, she was selected to work on the Rio de Janeiro Olympics in 2016. While there, she witnessed such poverty and suffering that she felt she had to find something constructive to do to help people who need a helping hand. After joining the Tennessee Hot chapter of the Red Cross, she was soon volunteering in her role as a disaster action team associate, started deploying as needed in sheltering, distribution of emergency supplies, feeding, and damage assessment. Many times volunteering with our amazing local volunteers for flooding and tornado events, to include our Reedyville response in April. The Red Cross is very much a team effort, and really the strength of our chapter comes from many volunteers who work together helping clients through our recovery. And at this time, I would love, Mary, if you could come up here and join me. Mary is definitely one of my go-tos. If there's something that I need and I call her, she's always one of the first to either say yes or apologize because she has to say no. But that's also very rare. And if she is saying no, it's usually because she's at the doctor's appointment. So we understand. So, Mary.
Thanks.
Let's get a picture. Yeah. Real quick, picture. Good.
Thanks. Well, I'm really honored and more than a little bit humbled by this. But nothing we do in the Red Cross is done by ourselves. This is something that takes a village. And if you look around, I would like all of those hot volunteers who have joined me on almost everything I've done. It's a group effort. So I would like all of those people to stand up. I told you I was going to ask you to. There you go. The Red Cross is very much a group thing. We work together, we sleep together, we eat together. We do, well, you know. On deployment, we do. In separate cots. I think I've dug a hole. I'm sorry. I apologize. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to all of them because this is for all of you guys too. And I would also like to introduce a video that one of the MTSU graduates from several years ago put together, Nick Paranchape, about our trip to the tornado that happened down in Reedyville, which was very close to home and very close to our hearts because we all have people who live in Cannon County. And so it was every one of us got up early, every one of us drove those streets packing shovels and rakes and anything we could cram into the cars. to try and help our neighbors. So it's really not that we want to be heroes, it's that we just want to be good neighbors. And so we work together to do that. And this video demonstrates some of the things we did while we were there. Thanks.
I was actually in Colorado, woke up to a text message from my wife, essentially pleading for help. Finally got through to her, could hear my children in the background just, screaming, panicking. They were trapped in the cellar of our house. She was just asking me to call for help.
James opened the door and he went, "We're too late," turned upside down and slammed up on a tree that was in the yard. That's the only thing that kept us in the spot that we were.
We was in a 32-foot RV and we were working on our home. That tree came in through the RV and scraped by my back and shoulder and wedged me up against a doorway on top of her. It's a miracle of God, of course.
It is, absolutely.
We know that God's angels were there with us and protecting us.
When I think about April 1st, I would have never thought to be sitting here looking at you doing an interview like this. And I turned to go towards the front door. I had a coat closet there, and I always thought, well, that must be the safe place. I was gonna open it and yell for my son to come in. My oldest son, Robbie, is handicapped. He's severely autistic, and he was in the other end of the house, and I didn't have time. When I touched the door, it came down on me. I asked, "Robbie, are you there?" And he answered, and I started yelling for somebody, and I heard one of the neighbors, and they said, "We're here, we're here."
Not often that you have a house collapse on somebody.
And they walk out. They get up and walk out with their dog.
Yes. Or to have a travel trailer be flipped with someone inside it, and for them to be able to walk out of that. They had God's hand in it, but they heeded the warning. They weren't sleeping through it. They knew something was coming.
The Red Cross from day one has been there feeding us, giving us supplies, whether it's cleaning supplies, tools, shovels, peace of mind.
The Red Cross was there right away. They were bringing us meals. I think I gained 10 pounds in 2 weeks.
And they've got that cross on them. You know that you're gonna be okay. They all showed up. They didn't know our names. They didn't know where we were from. They didn't know anything about us. And they were there and they worked from sunup to sundown.
The first thing that I remember about the Red Cross, my youngest son and I hurried back down to the rubble to see if we could find my oldest son's medication, and he has to have it. We didn't find the medicine.
We sat and we had a very teary-eyed conversation together about what she had experienced and about the needs of her son. And then we were able to immediately go ahead and open a case for her and get her the financial assistance that she needed to replace her medications.
I don't have the words to tell you what the Red Cross did for us. They got us through. That was a game changer for me. Everybody that I've talked to that has gone through this, we've all said the same thing. We want to be a part of that.
We need volunteers, we need donors to help support these kinds of things. They're starting from scratch a lot of times, and Red Cross, we don't have the money to rebuild their house, but we can make them comfortable while those kinds of things are happening.
Readable is gone. We'll never have Readable back. And my thought is this: Readable, we lost a lot of history in Readable, but Readable is going to be better.
Good afternoon. My name is Joey P. And when John asked me to participate in the program in this realm, I thought, you're asking the worst guy. I hate asking people for money. Then he sent me the agenda, and I saw that I was following that video. What you may not realize is I'm a resident of Readable. My wife and I have lived there since 2001. The tornado passed about 1.5 miles north of our home. Our first call came, somebody checking on us, about 2:30 that morning. Her sister was calling to see if we were okay. What she didn't realize is Charlotte and I were actually in Pikeville, Kentucky that weekend. But the well-wishing and people in the community checking on us, friends and family, was so touching. And then I thought, this is going to be pretty easy for me. Why should somebody give money to the Red Cross? I became involved with the Red Cross at 17 when I started giving blood. I'm pretty much close to 10 gallons by now, if I haven't already surpassed that mark. I've got my 9-gallon pen here on my name badge. But I've also been honored to be able to serve on the Red Cross Board of Directors and seeing all that they do more than just blood services. As Jenny said, it's very critical that we have the blood supply. Being in healthcare now, knowing that patients need those adequate, safe blood supplies that the Red Cross helps supply to this community. But then seeing the effort of the volunteers on disasters. I guess you could call it my curse that I served on the board when we had Katrina and then also Rita. I saw the evacuees from New Orleans getting off the plane at the Smyrna airport with all that they owned basically in plastic bags. And then I saw the remarkable efforts of Charlie Gregory and the MTSU team setting up another shelter here in the beautiful rec center, and how this community came together once again to support our neighbors to the south. I can assure you those neighbors of mine in Reedville did not want to have to interact with the Red Cross. But as you heard, they're thankful they were there. Shortly after my wife and I moved into our house, overnight, one spring evening, we were awakened by a loud clap of thunder and a bright flash of lightning. I checked our barns, our house, everything was fine. I went back to bed, and about 5 minutes later I heard the sirens. Local volunteer fire department was showing up at my neighbor's house, less than 100 yards from mine, that had been struck by lightning and was engulfed in flames. The fire department was there, the police department were there, and the Red Cross was there. In the middle of the night, in a thunderstorm, the Red Cross was there too. Please, please, please support the Red Cross. There's a table captain at every one of the tables. I'd ask the table captains, if they would, to take the pledge cards out of the envelope you were provided and distribute them to the people around your table. I would ask that each of you search your heart and realize that there but for the grace of God go I. Understanding that it might be your house next time. That's the randomness of tornadoes. If you follow the pathway of the Reedville tornado, the first real damage that you saw was at the Lehew's house up on John Bragg Highway. It skipped over their metal building but destroyed their house. Went over Peaks Hill and it missed the house at the foot of the hill. It's a very dear friend of mine and my wife's. Missed her my mother-in-law's house, my wife's mother's house, just across the street. Although they lost several hundred trees and a piece of tin off the barn. Then it skipped this house and that house, and then it got down to downtown Reedville. And one house was destroyed. My wife was a little bit relieved when she saw the front of the Reedy house that when she was a teenager, she broke a window in that house cutting grass. Well, the windows are getting replaced now finally. But in all seriousness, it hit one house and missed the next three and then destroyed another one. So it's just random. Tornadoes don't choose. They just destroy. There's multiple ways you can support the Red Cross financially today. Credit card, check, or cash. You can open the QR code and donate online. John Mitchell and a few others will be walking around to assist you. Just raise your hand if you have any questions. When you're done with your card, if you would turn it back into the table captain. Table captains, if you would just accumulate those, put them back in the envelope, and when you have your envelope, all the cards collected, if you would just raise those and a volunteer will come pick them up. Thank you for your generosity. At this point, I would invite LaShawn Dixon and Robert Coggin up to the stage. Thank you.
It is my great privilege to introduce Ernest Burgess, a man I respect immensely and one who has contributed greatly to our community. Ernest is a lifelong resident of Rutherford County. He has been happily married to the lovely Peggy for over 60 years. Ernest holds a Bachelor of Science from Middle Tennessee State University and a master's degree from the University of Tennessee. Committed to serving our local community, Ernest has been on numerous boards. He has also faithfully served as an elder at Noble Boulevard Church of Christ for many years. In his professional life, Ernest worked at National Healthcare Corporation as Senior Vice President of Operations for 20 years before retiring in 1994. He was instrumental in the initial success of NHC, working with Dr. Adams, Andy Adams, Robert Adams, and Ted LaRoche, as well as many others. As a natural leader, he has served on the NHC's board of directors for 30 years and also on the board of National Health Realty. Longtime friend and NHC associate and board member Ted LaRoche, who is unable to be here, but he wrote this about Ernest. I met Ernest in the mid-1970s when he joined National Health Corporation and was immediately impressed by his leadership acumen and thoughtfulness. With his master's in math, construction experience in Rutherford County, and operational background, Ernest could have joined NHC as an assertive executive, but he didn't. Instead, he started quietly understanding the fledgling company's business in long-term care, meeting its administrators, directors of nursing, and caregivers, and demonstrating how leaders must listen and learn, traits that immensely improved me. In due course, Ernest became NHC's Senior Vice President of Operations, and in that capacity, oversaw NHC go public in 1983, expand its center's portfolio by over 200%, become a multi-state home care provider, establish a pharmaceutical and nutritional multi-state division, and create National Health Investors, a leading public real estate investment trust. His leadership was quiet, effective, and shared generously, another lesson I hope I have learned. And Ted continues, in the 1990s, Ernest emulated George Washington by retiring to his Franklin Road farm in the midst of success. But, like General Washington, he answered the call of his Rutherford County community by running for and serving 3 extraordinarily successful 4-year terms as county mayor, a period of quite pragmatic progress. But he never left his service to and for NHC behind, serving on its board of directors to this very day. Ernest is a rock of stability with vision and a personality of service to all. He is my hero, and it is wonderful that the Rutherford chapter of the American Red Cross is honoring him today. Richard Ted LaRoche, March 5th, 2024.
In my many conversations with former Mayor Burgess leading up to today's luncheon, there is one thing that is abundantly clear. He embodies faith, harbors hope for the future, and exudes his love for his family, his friends, and his community. And it gives me immense pleasure to briefly share a memorable moment with former Mayor Burgess. He may not remember this, but in 2017, my former director, the late Dana Garrett, informed me to dress nicely for a visit to the mayor's office. And the next day, unexpectedly, upon our arrival, I discovered that it wasn't for a meeting about the health department, but rather a proclamation that the mayor was presenting me declaring December 4th as LaShawn Matthews Dixon Day in recognition of my service here in Rutherford County and throughout the state of Tennessee, as I prepared for the title of Mrs. United States. I distinctly remember a mix of surprise, gratitude, and blessings I felt as he signed that proclamation. Shortly after, Dana proposed the idea of establishing an assistant public health director for our health department here in Rutherford. And Mayor Burgess at the time, citing our continual growth and the need for additional support for 2 public health departments, his response was unequivocal. Whatever we need to do to keep the citizens here safe, and whatever we can do to keep bright stars like LaShann here. It was with him and with the full support of our county commissions and several others that I was appointed the first assistant public health director here in Rutherford County, a position unique to the Tennessee Department of Health, as it is the only out of the 89 rural counties position that we have here in the state of Tennessee. And because of former Mayor Burgess, the support of a number of individuals sitting at his table today, that I am where I am today. In my career, I have arisen serving as the first African-American public health director, the first director of sustainability, and now currently serving as the director of the faith-based and community engagement for the entire state of Tennessee, thanks to the faith, hope, and love of former Mayor Burgess. Mayor Burgess, I am sincerely grateful for the work that you have done, not only here in our county, but throughout the state. And I would not be the woman I am professionally if it wasn't for you opening up that door for me to serve. And having the potential to be one of my guiding lights shining me through as I'm able to see out my career in public health. Thank you. And now, to continue honoring our local hero, we will watch a video of Mayor Burgess's legacy here in Rutherford County.
This morning, we're going to step back in time and do some reminiscing about earlier times in which the Red Cross was involved. Our special guest is Ernest Burgess. He was our county mayor, did a tremendous job. And what were the years that you were county mayor?
Well, I started in 2006 and finished my term in 2018 and retired.
Any of you that were in or around the mayor's office during Mayor Burgess's time, I think would agree that it was an inviting and warm place. It was also a serious place. So we sometimes joked that we needed oxygen like a football player coming off the sidelines whenever we left Mayor Burgess's office. Mayor Burgess was a champion of our downtown. Mayor Burgess had advocated for and partnered with Main Street on the establishment of the Main Street Saturday Market, which continues to be a huge success downtown even to this day. He also helped provide leadership during a very difficult white nationalist rally, which could have been a potentially violent or property damaging situation. But instead, with his leadership, that event became a non-event and really brought the community together, I think, instead of driving us apart. It seemed to me, no matter the situation, he had just an unwavering ethic and, I guess, moral compass, I would call it. He just didn't change his principles regardless of the stress or difficulty or complexity of what was going on.
There were some days back when you were in office that we started having more need for the Red Cross, and you saw it firsthand at one point.
At one point, of course, we were living on a farm out on Highway 96 toward Franklin, and we didn't know really what had happened, but a tornado sort of started back there on another property behind us, coming from Eagleville back toward Murfreesboro. Then it turned sort of northeast and came across in a very, very forceful and severe way and landed predominantly in disastrous way on Haynes Drive and Sulphur Springs in that particular area.
Sadly took the lives of a mother and her infant child.
Yes. There was a little house right on the corner there, and that little house was completely destroyed, and that was a tragedy.
That really hit home with you and your church home because your minister, the minister of North Boulevard Church of Christ, decided he would be walking along the greenway at the wrong time.
What a miraculous thing had actually happened. He was nearby a tree, as I think he told us about that story, and just stood there and hugged that tree, held tightly to that tree, and somehow escaped. And then it went on to do quite a bit of damage. I was able to go visit that area a little bit later. The first time I ever was on a helicopter, I don't know, it was a Tennessee state helicopter, I think, but someone from the state came and picked us up and we observed its path. And then we also visited that area over there and saw all the damage that had been done.
So many people were impacted, not only by that particular tornado, but so many more that have continued to be a killer.
Major damage.
Now, when we think of the Red Cross, that's one of the areas that the Red Cross helps with. It also helped locally with the Hurricane Katrina group, but we don't always think of hurricanes and tornadoes. There was something else that you remember the Red Cross for when you were in office up on the Murfreesboro Square.
Yeah, at that time, every few months, the Red Cross would show up with their vehicle, which was set up and equipped for us to go contribute and make blood donations. So that was a routine kind of event that took place, and people came and supported the need. As always, we continue to have need for blood, et cetera, for medical serious difficulties.
And I want to say thank you also for giving your gift of life over those years. That is very much appreciated. So much that you have done and continue to do is very much appreciated because it impacts in a positive way the lives of all of us here in the heart of Tennessee.
Well, thank you very much for saying that. As I get a bit older, one starts thinking about things that are really important in life. And what I've come to believe is this: whatever abilities we've been given, whatever talents we have, it's not just for us to use for a personal benefit. It's for us to use so that we can help somebody else, whether it's in a tornado or a flood or whatever, or whether it's just helping a person that's in need that needs to have a little bit of a hand up. That's really, really what's important in life.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me in thanking Ernest Burgess for his many years of commitment to our community. Ernest, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, John. I will say just a few words. And you can see by just looking at me, as I get older, I begin to understand what is really important in life. I want to remind each of us that we have individual responsibility and duty to use our minds, our abilities, our resources, our physical capabilities, and our mental capabilities. To do what? To help others in need, to compliment them, to encourage them, to set a good example and model for them. We should do the right thing without receiving any personal gain. except for respect and appreciation received from those that we served. We should focus on our rewards through others who have been blessed and are thankful for our help and example. I want to thank the American Red Cross for having the purpose and the reason for being prepared and really to help those that have experienced any major tragedy and difficulty. I want to thank the Red Cross staff, those many volunteers and those that provide financial assistance for this caring and critical role in helping those in need. Nothing is more rewarding than helping those in need. I want to thank each of you as individuals for caring for others in need, and thank the Red Cross for moving them forward with their needs. I just want to say thank each of you for being a blessing to others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day, everyone. It is an honor to be here representing Ascend Federal Credit Union at this year's Heroes Luncheon. I'm Jason Powers. I'm the Senior Vice President of Administration with Ascend, and we have a whole table of our branch management from across our 7 branches across Rutherford County here today, helping me. I'd like to start by acknowledging and thanking all the American Red Cross volunteers, staff, and board members here today. Your tireless efforts and commitment to helping those in need are truly inspiring. We are proud at Ascend to have our very own Chief Strategy Officer, Leslie Copeland, serving on the Heart of Tennessee chapter board, and our Strategic Partnership Specialist, Tasha Price, serving on the Philanthropy Committee. Thank you so much for that. Ascend is proud to be a presenting sponsor of this event and to support the important work of the American Red Cross, from responding to disasters, as we have seen, to providing life-saving training and blood, and supporting military families. The American Red Cross makes a difference not only here in Tennessee, but also around the world. Following the destructive tornadoes that hit Middle Tennessee on December 9th, our communities experienced firsthand the profound impact of the American Red Cross. Not only did they assist with immediate needs like food and shelter, but they also to this day continue to provide aid for residents on the road to recovery. At Ascend, we too are committed to supporting our local Middle Tennessee communities, especially during times of crisis. We provide special short-term loans for members in need, and we also are honored to join forces with the American Red Cross to raise funds for tornado relief efforts. Through the credit union, its employees, and its members, we were able to raise almost $20,000 toward that relief. We are grateful to have organizations like the Red Cross, whose mission is essential, but are organizations that we can trust with our money, with our time, and with our partnership. Let's take a moment today, one final time, to show our appreciation to all that the American Red Cross does for our communities and for our honorees today. Thank you very much.
$86,400. 86,400 is the amount of seconds that's found in each and every day. And we are so grateful that you could spend a little bit of your 86,400 with us today. That number is also a reminder to live in the moment and be in the moment. Yesterday is already gone, and tomorrow is not promised. We thank you all for attending and for being here today. But before we leave, I must recognize the man behind all of this, and the man that has helped keep our board together, our volunteers together, the staff together, and this day together, Mr. John Mitchell.
Thank you, Michelle.